Hey, hello everyone. My name is Dariush Saidkia. I'm founder and CEO of TeTechS. Welcome to our webinar on advanced metrology solutions powered by Terahertz Wave. We are very excited to have you here. Our company is Waterloo, Ontario based in Canada. We offer turnkey robotic solutions to industrial manufacturers to automate some of their manual quality control processes. Our uniqueness comes from our proprietary terahertz sensor-based technology that we built into our systems that enables our customers to make certain types of measurements that is not possible with other types of measurement systems in the market. Today, I want to talk about the terahertz metrology solutions, cover some of the principles of it, and the unique features that it offers versus some other techniques out there. I'll touch up on the possibilities that is offered by a terahertz metrology system, and also some of its limitations, and as well as review some of the applications in the manufacturing industry. I'll try to keep it below 30 minutes. We started a few minutes late too, trying to finish by 12:30 Eastern time. I know everybody's busy with their day, and it's a long weekend ahead of us. So if there's questions, you can type them into the chat box. I'll try to answer as much as time allows in the live event, and then if not, I'll try my best to answer them in an offline response to those who ask the questions. So let's start with what the terahertz means. In a very simplest way to look into it, the terahertz is another type of light, which in the electromagnetic spectrum, its frequency range falls between the infrared and the radio wave spectrum. So being at that part of the spectrum, it has some unique features. Three major unique features of a terahertz light comes from the fact that, first of all, it can see through opaque materials, the type of materials that you would have difficulties or impossible to see through them with a visible light or an infrared sensor. So with the terahertz, you can see the sub features that are not visible to the visible sensors or to the naked eye, and that gives a unique feature to terahertz. And being relatively short wavelength, it enables one to do some precision measurements down to a micron level accuracy using this type of lights. Another unique feature of it is that it exhibits unique material fingerprint for some of the mostly larger molecule materials. For example, some pharmaceutical materials or polymers, some composite material, or for example, explosive materials as an example. They exhibit a unique fingerprint in this range of the spectrum. So for example, if four-dimensional camera can come in mind that one could get a 3D image with every pixel has also the chemical composite information on that image available for to be used. So a lot of concealed detection can happen, concealed weapon or harmful material detection. This could be a way to do it. And the third major feature of it is a safe radiation. It's the photon in the terahertz range of the spectrum is about 1 million times less energetic than X-ray. So it's pretty much safe. It's non-ionizing. It is a bit even less harmful than a visible light. So that makes it really attractive when it comes to deploying in a factory floor environment. No shielding from the exposure to the terahertz light is required. So there are several ways to basically utilize terahertz lights. and use it to for the type of applications that it allows people to do it. When it comes to the metrology and precision measurement application, the terahertz time domain measurement is proven to be the best way to utilize the terahertz and its uniqueness for precision measurement. So in a typical traditional system, you can build one of these systems on an optical bench. The picture on the top left shows one system I had the chance to build at the University of Waterloo back in 2006, 2007 timeframe. So once you put that system together, you have a transmitter and a receiver which generates and detects the terahertz light. You end up being able to generate an extremely short pulse, electromagnetic pulse, and detect it and record it. If you look at the frequency content in that system, in that measurement pulse, it has a few terahertz bandwidths in it. So that kind of short pulse in such a system can be used to do useful things, particularly when it comes into the precision measurement and metrology application. So terahertz time of flight becomes the technique to do metrology applications, particularly when it comes to some sort of a thickness measurement application. In its nature, it's very similar to the concept as the ultrasonic measurement, which has been around for a much longer time, and it's more mature technology. But in this case, we don't need a couplant medium, which is the case required in an ultrasonic measurement, because ultrasonic is a mechanical wave. So the sample under test, for example, has to be immersed into let's say a water bath. And with that comes a lot of challenges. Even the temperature of the water changes, affects the accuracy of the measurement. Some bubble creation in that bath could affect the measurement. And in a lot of cases, it's not even possible or convenient to put the sample in a couplant medium like a water bath. But in principle, that ultrasonic measurement, pulse measurement, has been around, and it uses a time of flight technique to do the measurement. And when you use the terahertz pulse time domain system, you overcome a lot of limitations there. And in fact, it doesn't need any sort of a calibration, ongoing calibration there. So basically, when you look at it as an example, when the sensor sends a bunch of pulses into sample and collects the echoes coming back, the picture here shows a typical measurement when you have a single slab, that the echo from the front side of that slab and the other side of that slab of a sample is recorded. What is happening in this measurement, the key element here is that the time between those echoes and as they arrive gets measured very precisely with a sub-picosecond accuracy, which enables one to measure the thickness, in this case, with a micron level precision. And once you get that measurement, the math behind calculating the thickness is very simple. It's a through thickness measurement. It actually measures the distance, in this case, two times of the thickness, because the light goes a round trip, is equal to the time that it took for the light to travel times the speed, which is the speed of light divided by the density of the material, which is a known parameter. So it makes it very simple math once you have the measurement done precisely and accurately. So here is a video, basically shows the principle of that time of flight measurement, one of our earlier measurement systems, just as a concept. So you see the sample, which is in this case an opaque bottle, gets exposed to the terahertz light, and you get the echo from the front of that side of the ball, the spot you're measuring, and the other side. And then the system automatically takes the timing, and then in this case also plots the thickness value at that spot. So that's basically, in a simple form, shows and demonstrates the the time of flight measurement using a terahertz time domain system. So in order to install such a system into the factory floor, obviously that optical table system, you can build it in a lab, but you can't put it on the factory floor. It has to be a very compact and ruggedized solution. Here, a video shows one of our systems that that basically is built to have a very compact transceiver sensor head, which basically sends the terahertz lights into a sample. Here we have a sample that has a 3-layer structure, an oxygen barrier layer built into the wall to extend the shelf life of whatever product that is going to go. Maybe a food packaging is this to extend the shelf life. So that layer, as well as the wall thickness, gets measured here almost in a real time, as you can see. And the echoes from each layer, the front surface, the barrier, and as well as the other side gets recorded. So what this video is trying to show is that how forgiving the positioning of the sample in front of the sensor can be in this kind of measurements, versus in the case of, for example, some of those laser-based or visible light or IR-based measurement techniques. You have to position the sample with the micron precision in front of the sensor in order to get a reading. Here, it is a lot more forgiving. It can be a few millimeter back and forth, and you still get a reading. So a system like this has the potential to get into a factory floor, and we have actually put a bunch of those in the manufacturing space, and it's running really well. So let's look at what are the possibilities and the limitations for any technique. Gives you some possibilities and as well as gives you some limitations, right? So in terms of the possibilities, it is a useful technique to do a multi-layer structure, and as long as each one of those layers are separated in a way that the echoes that coming back from them are relatively easily distinguishable in the system, then we have demonstrated that a layer down to 8 micron, and even we have seen 5 micron thickness, can be resolved with this technique with a ±1 micron measurement accuracy. When it comes to the coating measurement, for example, a coating on a metallic substrate or on a non-metallic substrate, a lot of other techniques are they have limitations to measure a coating on a non-metallic. With terahertz time of flight measurement, you can easily do that. Coating thickness down to about 40 micron is easily doable. And in terms of the measurement speed, you can do between 1 to 100 measurements a second is possible with such a system. In terms of the limitations, obviously, it's a light that cannot penetrate to metal, so you can measure a metal layer or a metal thickness with this technique. It gets extremely strongly absorbed by water and the water moisture. So that's another limitations of a terahertz-based system. For example, leaving cell, for example, which has a lot of water moisture, you might not be able to penetrate through it, or parts and samples that they are moist, highly moist, could be difficult to measure. When it's a ultra thin stack of multi-layers are stacked on top of each other, and they're very thin layers on top of each other, that also makes it challenging because the echoes start to basically overlap too much, and peeling them off becomes challenging task from a signal processing perspective. And it's a single point measurement in its nature. You measure 1 point at a time with this technique. So in terms of the applications in the manufacturing industry, there are so many areas the technique can be used at. Here is a list of a few of those areas that either have been addressed or can be addressed by a technology like this. For example, in a 3D print, the subsurface features can be visible using the terahertz light. especially if the 3D part is, and it's not a transparent part, which is the case in a lot of times. But you want to see if there is a void or there is an anomaly subsurface that has to be taken care of for the part. This could be a way to look at it. In the pharmaceutical space, the tablet coating, particularly there are tablets that are multi-release, so the coating layers are very important to control the thickness of it. This is an area the terahertz measurement can be a useful technique to be applied to. In the medical space, for a catheter tube, for surgery catheter, there are multi-lumen tubes that they are separated by thin walls within one tube, and each are responsible to take certain liquid in and out of the patient's body. And that has to be controlled very precisely so those liquids don't get leak into each other and make issues with the surgery procedure, for example. So that's one area that terahertz measurement is a good technique to help with the quality check. In the food packaging, the foreign object detection, seeing an object that is mixed in the package could be a way. Terahertz imaging could be a way to look at it. In the aerospace, that we have some clients using this the technology for a coating thickness measurement. There are precision coating measurement in those kind of applications that the terahertz time of flight is a good way to do it. When it comes to recycling, especially electronic waste, which is the black plastic, this relies on the material fingerprint that is unique for those polymers. Each polymer in the terahertz range, so the terahertz sense sorting system can be utilized to separate different plastics in a e-waste recycling application. In the case of security, there is a concealed threat detection, for example, explosives that are hidden or some bio threat material that could be hidden. But there are ways that the terahertz detection system can reveal them and then separate them, whether into the packaging or even in a human scanning cases. You have seen some versions of these systems in the airports that are being used to detect some hidden objects, much better than a metal detector. So you can see on non-metallic objects that are hidden undercover. In the automotive industry, the terahertz is being used for paint thickness measurement, again, to control the paint thickness, the primer and the different paint levels. This is a way to do it. In the plastic manufacturing, which we are mostly focused on, multi-layer thickness measurement of a blow molded parts. I will go through a bit of more details on that particular application in the next couple of slides. When it comes to the electronics, the conformal coating measurement, those layers that protect the key electronic components on the PCB can be tested and controlled and measured by the terahertz measurement system. And when it comes to the EV batteries, for example, in the production, cathode and anode thickness has to be measured and controlled. Again, the terahertz is being looked at as a technique to control the quality on that kind of application. And this is just the list. The list can go on and on. There are so many areas that one can utilize the uniqueness of this technique to do the quality check. So just let's dive into an example of an application that we have been looking more closely in the industry, which is in the plastic packaging, blow molding application, injection molding application. It's a decade-old problem that a lot of blow molded parts, because of their nature of being opaque, the only way to measure the resin distribution on those products is through some manual micrometer types of measurement. And if it's a multi-layer, one has to cut it and look at under the microscope and get the measurements. So that creates a lot of non-reliable data on the resin distribution. It cannot be done too frequently because it's a very labor-intensive task. There are hours of production happen with no data, so that could lead into a lot of scrap and a lot of waste of the material and the machine time. If a flaw gets caught and there's 4 hours of production has to be separated, not shipped to the customer. Obviously, a resin overuse because a lot of these machines, they will overshoot on the resin, especially when it comes those oxygen barrier to make sure there is enough coverage. But that resin overuse can cost a lot of money to the producer. So there's high scrap cost, and as well as the low labor productivity. It's a very mundane task to take those kind of measurement, and the labor can be utilized in more important tasks if this is taken care of by an automated system. So basically, as the only solution, the viable solution to such a problem is using a terahertz time domain measurement system. And of course, it has to be built into an automated solution. And once that is applied, one can take a lot more measurement data and tighten the tolerance range. So basically, end up even saving the resin, especially the expensive resin, for the production line. So to build such a solution, obviously, just having the sensor is not enough. It has to be automated and digitized and connected system. So instrumentation is very key here. It has to be a complete solution. The end user wants to measure the sample and the measurement gauge to be integrated with the mechanical and electronic and user interface, everything in one turnkey system. It has to be easy to operate. If it's a robotic system, for example, it shouldn't need a person to write a robot program. It has to be so that the non-expert technician should be able to operate the system easily and be trained on it very quickly. It has to be a robust system so that it can withstand the harsh environment, typically high temperature, high humidity. These plants are not air conditioned and all that. So it has to be a rugged system from that perspective. Has to relatively measure fast, at least between 1 to 10 measurement or better 100 measurement per second has to be available so that the parts can measure in a fast fashion. The measurement has to be repeatable and reproducible so that the day-to-day measurement stay consistent and it becomes reliable data that people can use and control their production line with it. And obviously, the system has to be manufacturable, means that you can build a large quantity of them consistently, and economy of scale should be there. And it has to be cost effective at the end of the day. It's last but not the least, that it has to justify the investment that people make into such a system to automate their quality control process. So here I leave you with a video that basically shows one of our systems that basically is built to take care of a batch-to-batch measurement of a blow molded part and save the data. So the video is a self-explanatory, so I'll let it run for you. So as you can see, there is a camera tells the robot to go and pick up the part automatically. And then the robot goes and picks the sample that way with a 3-finger gripper, and then presents the sample to the sensor in this case. First goes to another camera to read some information, and then for example, the cavity number, the orientation, and all that can be read and saved. And then it moves to the sensor to take a bunch of readings on a pre-programmed points on that recipe. So you can have as many samples as you want programmed into the machine, and the operator chooses which one that is being measured, and then the machine goes and runs it and measures the sample. So, and it keeps going and that cycle till all the samples are done, and then at that point it finishes the batch and it stops and saves the data. So with that, I end the presentation. Thanks for your attention. And if there is any question, please go ahead. Maybe I think your microphone must be open, or type in the chat box, and then we have maybe another minute or two, and then we obviously can discuss offline if more questions are out there. Thanks for your attention, everyone. Okay, looks like there's not much of a questions, at least at this point, but you've got my contact info. If anything comes up, please send me a note, and I'll be happy to connect you to the right people in the company and respond to your inquiries. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day.